Good afternoon, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzma here. I'm going to get my camera loaded in just a second. We got a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect out there in east central Michigan. As I get my camera ready here, that's going to be for Shiawassee County. Camera. There we go, and boom. Hello, everyone. Now you guys can see me. This is a severe thunderstorm warning here again, Shiawassee County, in effect till 2:45 p.m. The details on this read as followed. At 2:04, a severe thunderstorm was located near Maurice or near Owasso, moving east at 30 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail are possible with this thunderstorm. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Wind damage to roof-setting trees also possible. The severe thunderstorm will be near Corunna and Bancroft around 2:10. Durand, 2:15, Lennon around 2:25. Other locations impacted by the severe thunderstorm include Bennington, Shaftsburg, and Vernon. Again, this is 1-inch hail possible and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Go ahead and pop open chat here real quick. Let's see you guys in here this afternoon. So welcome in, everyone. Again, feel free to hit the like button as you're coming in, and we'll be live here for a little bit this afternoon as these storms kind of pop up everywhere and anywhere at the same time. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the I-69 corridor from pretty much Perry up to the Lennon area. Not into Genesee County yet, but again, this is where it would be heading next. So Flint, Flushing, Schwartz Creek, Grand Blanc, Mount Morris, Davison would probably all be up next here for this severe thunderstorm if it can stay on track. So just myself in here as of right now. See if... Okay. Yep, just me. But looking all up and down this line, we're going to go ahead and single box this real quick. Morris, thank you. Storms pretty much happening all up and down the line right now. We have a special weather statement up here in Harrisville. That is going to be for 40-mile-per-hour winds, half-inch hail there. We have a new special weather statement coming in for Iron County. We'll let that load in here in just a second. Special weather statements have been expired for Genesee and Bay, but the one for Saginaw continues. This is for 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail as well. And we have one down here at the border, down here along I-69 that heads into Indiana. This is for 50-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail. All these really in effect for the next either... That one has about 5 minutes left on that. It appears 18 to 30. Yeah, so that one has about 20 minutes left. This one has about 5 minutes left. So we'll probably see some expansions of these special weather statements as they continue across the state. Again, we have also more thunderstorms developing behind this initial line. Again, today is kind of another pop-up day where storms can happen really anywhere. And now we'll switch over to the new special weather statement coming in here for Iron County. So this one is in effect for a Mesa. I think it's a Mesa or a Mesa, one of the two. 40-mile-per-hour winds, half-inch hail there, and that is in effect until 2:45. Going back down to the severe thunderstorm warning now, over here in the east central portion of the state. Heading right up 69 right now. You can see right there in the lighter greens. That is your gustier winds. Right now, only seeing pockets here. I'm going to change it over here real quick so I can see storm motion vectors. So this is going to be 260. Just talking to myself here real quick. 260 at 26 knots. Just to see if we can get a better view of the velocity. So again, it's where the greens are surging out here. So the strongest of winds are on Tyrell Road, pretty much traveling up East Lansing Road, heading up towards Bancroft right now. So Bancroft, you have about probably another Oh, I would say probably 5 to 7 minutes. Again, they're moving relatively slow today. The warning text on this does read east at 30 miles per hour. So Bancroft again up next. Vernon, Corunna up next as well. You can see this line is all heading over towards the east side of the state. It's really hard to say a line. Obviously, there's one right here that goes from the bay all the way down to the state line. But again, there's also still storms popping up out in front of this whole line. Again, this line earlier this morning was looking a lot more promising. Right now, it's kind of congealed into this one big cell here and a couple just torrential downpours all up and down this line. You can see going through Jackson County all the way down to Hillsdale and Branch County, where there's also that other special weather statement in effect.
Hello, hello.
There's Drew. Let me know when you got your camera on. It is on. Perfect. So you got the alerts there, Drew. I'm guessing that's a yes. So zooming out the big picture here. Actually, let me... There we go. Now Drew can hear me. I realize I have myself muted.
All right.
He's not
Can
ignoring.
you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sweet.
I had myself muted for you in the background, so I was like,
Oh,
hey,
okay.
Drew's ignoring me. No, he's not. Just can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yep.
You share the link.
Nope. Yep. I was just saying help out with the posts on Facebook.
Gotcha.
Now that I'm tracking here. Oops. That's not the screen I wanted. There we go. All right. A little bit of echo coming through. I can hear myself on your side, Drew.
Okay.
So again, for those who are just tuning in, Shiawassee County, severe thunderstorm warning. Southern Shiawassee County. If you're in northern, no warning there. So Owasso is kind of that cutoff line there. So M21 there is basically the cutoff line. If you are east of Owasso, you're also in that warning along M21. But if you're west, then you are not. Again, respect the polygon. If you're in that orange warning box, that is where this severe thunderstorm warning is currently in effect. Main hazard today is damaging winds across the state. This is in effect for 60 mile per hour winds and also the potential for some severe hail. If we switch it over to correlation coefficient, there was a couple scans, I believe, here earlier, right where these reds and pinks change to about oranges and yellows, right in there. That's again going to be south of Owasso along the M52 corridor, pretty much west of the M52 corridor as you head down towards Perry. It looks like there could have been some lighter hail amounts falling there. Probably not anything towards severe. If we go to VIL, you can also see where that's where the core was at, and that core has now moved off just to the south of downtown Owasso, now heading up between Owasso and Vernon here along the M71 corridor. So again, paralleling the I-69 corridor, or actually along it here in terms of the wind factor, which you can see are gusting out here in the brighter greens. Again, heading towards Bancroft and Durand. Eventually heading into Genesee County. Schwartz Creek would be up next there. Lennon right on the border of Shiawassee and Genesee County. I'm going to go ahead and for our mods here, that's the one thing I haven't set up yet. So mods, if you guys are listening, I'm going to get the forecast link set up for you guys right now. So one thing I forgot to queue up. Okay. It should be toggled on now. So our forecast today for eastern Michigan is a low risk, which is a level 2 of 6 on our MSC scale. For those who do follow the Storm Prediction Center, it's the equivalent of a 1 out of 5. Again, low risk today for damaging winds. Around a 15% chance that any storm could produce damaging winds of 60 miles per hour, and right now that's what the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for. So they believe that the odds are being beat and that 60 mile per hour winds are possible here along the I-69 corridor from Perry up towards Durand.
Yeah, today will be mainly a damaging wind threat if there is one today. Kind of been a highlight throughout these past few days is just pop-up storms. Kind of we've been repeating multiple times during our most recent live streams. It's just kind of like a downburst damaging wind threat today. As these storms kind of traverse across the state, obviously any of these storms will have frequent lightning as well as heavy rainfall. So that's something always to be mindful about, even if you're not in a warning or a special weather statement. So just be mindful about that as you're doing your activities today.
And as a resident of Mount Pleasant here, I can kind of vouch for that here, as we have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in for, sorry, that probably is an update alert for Shiawassee County, probably coming in as a trim. Up here in Mount Pleasant this morning, we had a storm come through, and it was about an hour of nonstop thunder. So it was a very, very electric storm out there today. And then obviously we also had the rain, so much so that the drains could not keep up. They were definitely flooding out there. We had rainfall rates of probably about 2 inches per hour at some point. So again, torrential downpours, frequent clouded ground lightning, main hazards today. Anything severe would be in terms of damaging wind. Again, there's really no time frame in terms of who's going to get severe storms where. On our forecast, which we did post on our Facebook page and our Instagram pages as well, if you guys don't have Facebook, they are there. We said anytime between now and 11 p.m. this evening, and that does include the UP now, which does have that special weather statement up there for Iron County. You can see that tan box just north of Crystal Falls. So there is the trim, and we're going to have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in for the UP here in just a second. But here's your trim of the severe thunderstorm warning. Langsburg no longer in it, and portions of I-69 just to the west of Perry no longer in it as well. So new severe thunderstorm warning coming in for way up north here. Oh yeah. The storm stopped up pretty quickly. Literally within 4 scans. So we're waiting for the orange box to pop in, and actually it's actually only for this front storm here, Drew. This new severe thunderstorm warning, as I pause it here, is in effect for northeastern Iron, northwestern Dickinson, and west central Marquette County until 3:15 Eastern, 2:15 Central. At 2:19 Eastern, 1:19 Central, severe thunderstorm was located near Mesa. Probably pronouncing that wrong. I feel bad because I remember it was pronounced a certain way. And again, that is moving off to the east at 25 miles per hour, similar to the storms downstate. Quarter-sized hail is the main hazard with this storm. It'll be near Squaw Lake and Witch Lake around 2:45 p.m. And that is in Eastern time. Other locations impacted by this severe thunderstorm include Silver Lake near Channing, Way Dam, and Republic. This is only 1-inch hail, no wind threat with this. Again, this is in the UP. So really anywhere can get severe storms today across the state of Michigan. You can also see here on your correlation coefficient radar, there's your core of your pinks and, your oranges and yellows. The pinks and the purples and the reds is your normal rain. Oranges and yellows show us there's non-uniform things tumbling around the atmosphere out there, likely in the form of hail. We go down to this storm down here. You can also see some more blue or oranges and yellows popping up on here as well. Would not be surprised if we have a second concurrent severe thunderstorm warning popping up here soon for Gastra and points to the east as it heads over towards Alpha. That is a very large storm that has just popped up here. I'm going to take a 3D scan of it real quick. You guys won't be able to see it on your screen. Just to kind of look at the core, and wow. Looking at behind the scenes, there's a very wide pocket of 60 dBz, which is very, very heavy rain to some hail above, from anywhere from 5,000 feet off the ground to about 20,000 feet off the ground. So it's about 15,000 feet there of very heavy rain and perhaps hail falling or tumbling around in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So again, that could be a hail threat moving in towards Crystal Falls and Alpha here soon. Again, not severe warned. The first one that is severe warned is up here to the north of Crystal Falls right now in that orange box. So again, we have 2 different spots in the state right now with severe thunderstorm warnings, both in different peninsulas.
I will note our lapse rates up in the UP compared to the low P, the low level lapse rates up in the Upper Peninsula are 8.5, right where that storm is that really blossomed. So that might explain why, just how quickly it just kind of erupted in just a few scans.
You see more redevelopment is happening back here in West Michigan right now as we speak. Again, all these pop-up showers and storms today, the odds are there that they won't be severe, but again, there's still a low threat. The odds aren't zero. Keep that in mind. Damaging winds the main threat with any sort of downburst out there. Okay, West Michigan right now, not seeing any strong or severe storms at the current time, but this may change, obviously, as we go on through the afternoon hours. We have up here in Shiawassee County right now still that severe thunderstorm warning ongoing for those damaging winds. We're going to go ahead and switch back to the DTX radar real quick, so bear with us here. And you can really see where that pocket of green is kind of bowing out. It's right over Bancroft right now, and about 2 to 3 minutes away from downtown Durand. Radar scan here shows 2:22 p.m. So again, this is probably right over Reed Road, traveling right down Newburgh Road right now into downtown Durand. It's also over Vernon right now as well, so if you're in Vernon, make sure you're away from any exterior walls, so any trees may fall into them with 60-mile-per-hour winds. Also appears that the prompts are working for our mods now. Sounds good. Again, for those who are here watching on YouTube, our moderators did give you guys the prompt to go check out our Facebook page where the forecast for today is posted. Again, it's a level 2 of 6 risk, mainly for eastern Michigan, a level 1, which is a limited risk for pretty much everywhere else in the lower peninsula, minus northwest lower. And then I will say that the Storm Prediction Center did add a marginal risk for the UP this afternoon. I believe it's for hail up here in the UP, which we are seeing start to verify with these new cells that are popping up here just north of Crystal Falls and just to the west of Crystal Falls here in Iron County.
Looking behind the scenes here where we have that severe thunderstorm warning for Shiawassee County, Maine for wind. Seeing a few power outages come in, but nothing too widespread. For those that may remember our last live stream, we were actually covering these kind of same regions here in lower Michigan for that wind threat around that Perry, DeWitt area. But once again, these winds aren't near as strong as what they were last time as of now, but getting still a few power outages, but pretty much scattered in nature. So
we also do have a new special alert statement coming in for the US 41 corridor from Champion to Ishpeming up there in the UP. So we're going to have to go switch right back. So bear with us here. We're going to jump right back up to the UP. So a new special alert statement has come in. It's going to be for this little cell here in extreme western Marquette County on Chipmunk Trail. Right over Chipmunk Trail. Again, this is heading towards Champion. Pretty much going to be on a collision course with Ishpeming if it can maintain its strength. Again, heading right down US 41 this afternoon. So really all of these cells as they pop up across the UP are going to have the hazard of producing some larger hail. So that box will pop on. I'm not sure if it'll pop on right now, but again, that box kind of is for western and central Marquette County here for the US 41 corridor. It also includes the extreme eastern portions of Baraga and northeast corner of Iron, which is where that cell is currently at. So it is this cell here. If we loop it, you can see it's heading off, pretty much off to the east-northeast, right down US 41, eventually heading towards Marquette. So that is your look at the radar up there in the UP right now. And we'll switch it back down to, we'll go into northern Michigan just to check on you guys up here. Again, cells are ongoing. Very strong downpour ongoing in Harrisville down to Oscoda and into central Iosco County as well. A couple cells also popping up here in Hillman right now, heading up towards Posen. Moving down into central Michigan, have a nice little thunderstorm popping up near Harrison at the current time. And a couple cells popping up, as mentioned here, across Mecosta, Isabella, Montcalm, and Gratiot County. Again, these are kind of sliding off a little bit to the east, northeast. But right now, majority is off to the east. Going down into southeast Michigan right now, where the severe thunderstorm warning is currently in effect for Shiawassee County. This is going to be moving into Genesee County here in the next 5 to 8 minutes. Really north and south of it right now, there's not a whole lot going on. Just some downpours, nothing severe. There's no special weather statements on these as well. By the way, for those who are wondering, who are new here, special weather statements on my radar are going to be shown in this tan box that kind of goes around like this. And the severe thunderstorm warnings will always be in orange. Now, if I were to take Drew's radar, for example, it would be more of a blue box for special weather statements. But it's universal for severe thunderstorm warnings. Those are the main things to keep in mind. Severe thunderstorm warnings are more severe, obviously, than a special weather statement would be. Go ahead and take a look at our base velocity again, as it has updated. It is now directly over Durand, heading towards Byron and Gaines here very, very soon, if it can continue to maintain its strength. Only seeing pixels of 40 to 45 miles per hour at about 2,000 feet off the ground. So, according to this, we're not seeing severe winds on radar, but again, anything below 2,000 feet we're not seeing at this location right now. So, again, just because it's not showing up on radar doesn't mean it might actually be happening. So, please be taking shelter if you're in this orange box you see on the center of your screen here, which is in Shiawassee County. Really from Bancroft up to Durand right now, heading towards Lennon, Gaines, and Byron. Crazy wind in Durand. Thank you for that report. That does help us here. If you have any videos of the wind or any damage to send in, feel free to do so to our Michigan Weather Reports page. Feel free to only use that for damage reports or wind reports. If you have some cool clouds that are worth showing off, feel free to send that to our other community page called Michigan Storm Community. We have two different pages out there, so we can kind of separate the fair weather stuff from non-fair weather stuff. Switching it back to our base reflectivity radar again, you can see there's a lot of very strong downpours going on out there today. So even if you're not getting severe, as we mentioned here at the beginning of the stream, those 1 to 2 inch per hour rainfall rates, maybe even higher, especially where you can see some of these heavier cells right now, especially down there in Branch County where that special weather statement just expired. Heaviest of that rain is going to be right along the Indiana-Michigan state line, eventually heading into the southern Hillsdale County region. What we're looking at here is for any of these cells that have the red and the purples inside of them, sometimes pinks. Again, that's going to be your heavier rain values. Again, those rainfall rates of probably close to 2 inches per hour. Where you see the lighter blues and the greens, that's going to be your lighter rain. Mostly storms today moving off to the east or northeast at 25 to around 35 miles per hour. Kind of circling around. I believe there's a little bit of a low somewhere up in here as well. Kind of a surface low. Very, very small in nature, but again, it's adding to the lift out there today in the atmosphere. Again, it's kind of one of our driving mechanisms for these storms to kind of billow up. And that's what we're seeing happening out there today, along with some sufficient decape, which is our downdraft instability for these collapsing thunderstorms to produce 60 mile per hour winds.
For those that are wondering, we'll have, as Joel was kind of mentioning, we have a low pressure that's moving through, and with that is a cold front. And I know we had a one day, I believe Saturday, where it was nice out, but thankfully we have a much longer stretch of days where we'll have more pleasant weather. We'll have a few days where we'll get maybe in the 70s or 80s, but the main focus is that our humidity will drop, our dew points will drop. So, and that'll be after this cold front moves through. So that's some good news. Looking forward to this week.
Yeah, this time of the year, cold fronts, I mean, there's quotation marks on the word cold because it really doesn't get too cold behind a cold front compared to like the spring or the fall, for example. It'll bring quick relief and lower dew point temperatures, meaning, again, it'll dry out. The temperatures when they're 85 outside, with a dew point of maybe in the 50s or the 60s, that's not going to feel as humid as it would be if that dew point is in the 70s. So relief is coming for probably at least a 3 to 4 day stretch here, Drew. But again, as we get into next weekend, our chances for storms rise, which means more moisture is coming in. And unfortunately, the dew points will get back up into the 70s. So we did tease you guys today on our Facebook page. We did say humidity is going to be dropping off. We didn't say how long it was going to be dropping off for. But for those who did see it, again, about a 3 to 4 day window here this week. For those who might be working outside, for example, it'll feel nicer outside even if it is 80. But again, humidity will ramp up as we get into the 4th of July weekend. Friday, really into Saturday and Sunday as those air temperatures also reach 90 degrees. So we could see heat index values close to 100 again next weekend. We'll have to keep an eye on it as the forecast changes throughout the week. We new special weather statement coming in. I just saw it pop in for Tuscola County here. I'd imagine it's for this blob over Caro. This is going to be heading up towards Cass City and Gagetown in the near future. Again, the box will pop on usually every 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and check in our storms up here in the UP once again. A bunch of different boxes here in the Iron, Dickinson, and Marquette County region. Again, cell 1, cell 2, and cell 3 here. Could also have a little bit of winds starting to pop in here, really in these eastern rural parts of Iron County. So keep that in mind if you know anyone out there two-tracking today, maybe camping. Again, severe thunderstorm warning does remain in effect here for northeastern Iron, northwestern Dickinson, and west central Marquette counties until 3:15 Eastern and 2:15 Central Time. Quarter-size hail is possible with this. You can see all those pinks on radar there. If we switch it to VIL, there are your cores on your storms, plural. Correlation coefficient does have a bullseye right there right now, just to the north of Crystal Falls, probably outside of town by about 5 to 10 miles. Again, we're seeing these yellows and oranges change to more of greens and blues, which could be indicative of some larger hail ongoing. If you take a look at our ZDR radar, looking for any downdrafts in here where the hail would be falling out. Could be some grays right there. So this is basically a measure of buoyancy. So we flipped through a bunch of different radar products here. Again, as meteorologists and staff alike, this is what's called the ZDR radar. So it's differential reflectivity. So this is the natural buoyancy in the atmosphere. So if you have these reds and these oranges on radar, that's going to be positive buoyancy. Greens, blues, and grays is more of your negative buoyancy, so downdraft. Really anything in the middle, kind of in that green to yellow range, is going to be your neutral buoyancy, so the storms are not building up or going down. They're just kind of staying as they are. So you can see right now there's a little pocket of gray in here where that hail core would be. Again, this is going to be just to the northeast of Crystal Falls. This is going to be heading into rural parts of eventually northern Dickinson and southern southwestern Marquette County. Eventually heading towards the south side of the Republic at some point, but again, it's still far a ways away from there.
Special weather statement by Tuscola County is for 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-size hail. They also trimmed that severe thunderstorm warning further in Shiawassee County.
Got it. Yeah, so Owasso, Perry, and Corona no longer in that severe thunderstorm warning. We do have a special weather statement now coming in for the entirety of Genesee County. So if you are in any part, the entire county of Genesee County, so Flint, Flushing, Swartz Creek, Grand Blanc, Linden, up there towards Clio and Otisville, you are in that special weather statement now. This is going to be for 50-mile-per-hour winds and half-inch hail. They believe this storm is no longer doing severe winds, but still strong winds ongoing out there, and they will still bring down some branches, maybe some weak rotted trees as well. Power outages scattered in nature, not going to be widespread. So there's your two new special weather statement boxes up here, one for northern Tuscola and one for the entirety of Genesee County. No more alerts down here in southern Michigan. However, there is a special weather statement for Steuben County, Indiana, and this will be heading into Hillsdale County and Williams County, Ohio, here in the coming minutes. So we'll keep an eye on southern Michigan here, Hillsdale County specifically, for any alerts, whether that will be severe or special weather statements here in the coming 10 to 15 minute time frame. So this severe thunderstorm warning will be likely canceled here very soon. This is in effect still till 2:45, so it's got 8 more minutes on it. could be canceled early, but again, the storm is still inside the box, so Durand, Lennon still getting hit right now as we speak. Possibly 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail are the main hazards there. Tornado threat today, not likely. However, the threat is low, but not zero, as we like to say all the time here. It is less than 1% chance that you do see a storm that produces a tornado today. So if you think about it the other way, if you're optimistic, it's a 99% chance that any storm that you do see today does not produce a tornado. So you could have 100 storms today and only one would produce a tornado. So essentially you're safe for 99 storms. But yeah, just to show you guys the odds out there today, it's a very, very, very low chance that any of these storms produce a tornado. So really, it's a 0% chance of any hazard until you actually have a storm over you. Then you add the odds onto that. It's not an actual 1% chance of happening in general. It's just if you have a storm.
Yeah, that's an interesting note. To point, we'll mention, we'll always have that maybe on a lot of these severe weather setup days. We have these pull storms where there is that 1% chance or maybe 2%, and that means 98% of the time, we would go live, cover these storms, they won't produce a tornado. But then obviously there could be that one random, live stream that we have in the future where, let's just say there would be a spin up. Once again, kind of proving the point. We could have dozens of live streams where that threat doesn't really materialize. So as Joel was mentioning, main threat or main things we're kind of looking out for is more of those damaging winds and hail for today.
Yeah, and just to give you guys an idea of the sheer factors out there, there's basically none. Basically, looking at it right now, actually I'm going to go ahead and look at current meso analysis. I'm not going to look at the models. There's a lot of 3 cape out there, so low level instability, but looking at again the wind vectors out there, yeah, there's basically none. So shear is our main component. Again, shear is the measurement of wind speed and direction as you go up in the atmosphere. We pretty much only have speed shear out there today, which again, as you go up in the atmosphere, the wind's going to get a little bit greater, but not that great, honestly. But again, the winds down here at the surface are probably 15 knots, maybe 20 knots at most. So again, that's going to be about 20 miles per hour. Again, not rotating at all in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's all just blowing in one direction. So that's not going to induce spin in the atmosphere really whatsoever. The only way you would really get a quick tornado threat is if you have some sort of boundary that comes off of the lakes. Again, we see that sometimes here in Michigan where the boundaries like to do funky things. And again, that would change the wind direction from pretty much all out of the west today to, if it comes off of Lake Huron, for example, it would be out of the east. So again, the boundaries are something to watch. Not likely today, but again, it's something that we always have to be mindful for here in Michigan. Again, it's just perks of living in Michigan. You always have a lake breeze. It would be kind of the similar to living like along the ocean. They have a sea breeze, is what they call it. So again, makes forecasting sometimes fun here in Michigan and sometimes tricky as well. Well, I have a moment real quick. Thank you, Red Dozier, one of our longtime donors here, for the $20 super chat this afternoon, saying, "Good afternoon, everyone. I just don't know how you guys do it. Always there when anything pops. Thanks." And thank you, Red, for your support and for tuning in today. Yeah, we'll always be here for you guys 24/7. Just got off of my weekend off. Ryan had the weekend for you guys, and now I'm back here in the saddle for you guys this week. Taking care of some camera stuff behind the scenes. So if you guys would like to sponsor a weather camera, we have a lot of them out there. We're looking to expand our camera network, and that's what we're going to be working on this week, I should say, behind the scenes. So if you want to send an application in, you can do that via, I believe, our website. I think our mods probably have a link to it here in chat, if I had to guess. So if you're here on YouTube, our mods will link it down here in the chat. If you thought about having a weather camera, if you want to sponsor a weather camera for your location, you have a nice view of like the western skies, for example, feel free to fill out that form that will probably pop up here in our YouTube chat here in just a second.
Once again, for those that are wondering, we just have right now a bunch of storms mainly forming along US 131 and east right now. Right now, not seeing anything too concerning west of US 131. We do have a few showers over eastern Wisconsin, over Lake Michigan right now. But once again, really there's just scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the majority of Michigan, especially east of US 131 in terms of lower Michigan. And then we also have that severe thunderstorm warning up in the upper peninsula that we're keeping an eye on. So a lot of storms are popping up right now. So there's a lot to track. And a lot of these storms are kind of gaining in strength as well with lightning activity as well as heavier rainfalls. But once again, I believe, Joel, that severe thunderstorm warning is fully canceled now.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Shiawassee County.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It was going to expire anyways at 2:45, but that storm has pretty much moved all the way into Genesee County now. Which, by the way, the camera you see on your screen is in Genesee County. That is from Burton, Michigan, on the east side of Flint. That is looking south there at the Guardian Technologies headquarters. You can see the storms are moving in there on your west side of the screen, I should say. And really, structurally, can't even say that word. Looking not bad out there. I haven't really seen too much in the way of any shelf clouds yet today. Shelf clouds would be a sign of stronger winds gusting out from underneath the thunderstorm. But so far today, not really anything impressive structure-wise. So far, just been some strong storms. And we got that severe thunderstorm here, as we could see, rolling into the Genesee County neck of the woods. So a bunch of different cameras out there today, looking nice and kind of foggy there at the Manistee cam. Clouds rolling in quickly off the lake there. Nice and sunny, partly cloudy skies here in Ionia, where pop-up storms are ongoing all around them. You can look in west from our cam here. That is going to be from the Old Stone Porch in Ionia, Michigan. A barn wedding venue there in north of Ionia, looking to the west. And again, we have the Charlotte Fire Department out there, also hosting one of our cameras in Charlotte, Michigan, just to the southwest of Lansing, looking to the west. You can see what appears to be, Drew, a storm that has pretty much rained itself out, except for at the anvil level there in the center of the screen, directly there in Charlotte. Again, storms rain themselves out from bottom up, and so what you're seeing out there is the remnants of one of those storms that did have a nice towering updraft later. So it's literally just the top of it there on the center of your screen. You can see right where my mouse is circling. So that is the leftover anvil from a previous storm. You can see other storms firing out there in the distance, off there in the center left side of the screen, and way out there in the right side of the screen.
Yeah, I mean, for those that I guess want some cool meteorology fact, when you're usually looking at clouds here, as Joel's kind of mentioned, when they're very hazy, that means their updrafts are kind of collapsing, the storm is weakening. And when you look at the sky and if you see a really strong updraft, so if you basically see a cloud that's very vertical, that's shooting up more, that means there's a strong updraft with that, and most likely means that storm is likely strengthening. So that's kind of helpful with days like today when you just have all these storms that pop up. You know, they'll pop up, and then you'll probably see that strong updraft along with it as well. And then you'll have cells that'll weaken, basically become more hazy, more disfigured. The structure becomes less focused, and that's when you can kind of generally guess that that storm is most likely weakening or is on a weakening trend.
It's actually not pronounced Charlotte. It's pronounced Charlotte. That is the actual correct pronunciation. Did somebody say, Drew, did you say Charlotte by chance?
I have not. No.
Okay. Because it's Charlotte. L-O-T-T.
Charlotte is in North Carolina.
Yes. As Ryan speaks from the background. So going back up here into the Upper Peninsula, take a look at these severe storms, kind of strong and severe storms ongoing. Both still have a nice hail core on them, and perhaps some nice damaging winds as well. You can see reds and greens going in opposite directions here. That is a sign of winds moving in opposite directions. So we have cell 1 and cell 2 from Crystal Falls up to the northeast of Crystal Falls. We switch it over to our correlation coefficient radar, which kind of shows you where there's non-uniform objects tumbling around the atmosphere. And in fact, we probably had a nice hail core move right over Alpha just recently, and it is not currently warned. There's also what's called a third body scatter spike on the backside of the storm, which is basically showing us that the hail is so large in size that the beam is kind of getting refracted in different directions off the backside of the storm. So likely severe hail ongoing as this tracks through southern and southeastern Iron County, and this storm is not severe thunderstorm warned right now. I'm going to go ahead and take a 3D scan of this one right here. And yeah, there's quite the core on that. And that is falling to the surface right now as well. So that is likely some large 1-inch hail falling here just to the southeast of Crystal Falls. Again, not severe thunderstorm warned. If we're going to take a look at this one that is warned here to the northeast, and there is still a nice core on this as well, which I will say it looks like it is starting to rain itself out. So the cell to be watching here is to the southeast of Crystal Falls here in the Upper Peninsula. The cell here that is currently special alert statemented for perhaps some nickel-sized hail, I believe it was, near Champion is also collapsing on itself. Doesn't look like there's much of anything there anymore, but it is heading down M41, a nice downpour there as it continues to rain itself out. So those are your updates there for the cells in the Upper Peninsula. Again, some probably severe hail moving down the vicinity of M69. Again, where this pink is on your radar, as likely where severe hail would be ongoing, if anything. A lot of rural roads out here: Mud Lake Road, Old Lake Mary Road, A. Hershey Snowmobile Trail, crossing over Lake Mary Road as well here in the coming minutes. Bunch of 2-track roads out there. So if anyone out there camping or ATVing out there today, feel free to let them know. Large hail likely falling in their vicinity. Back down here to the Lower Peninsula, again, really just a bunch of strong storms ongoing. Nothing severe at the current time. Special weather statements ongoing for Genesee County and Tuscola County.
We also have some thunderstorms in extreme portions of northeast of lower Michigan as well, by East Tawas. Very heavy rainfall as well as thunder and lightning that are going on. But once again, no special weather statements up there. As Joel mentioned, really the main areas we're watching are eastern Michigan, where there's 2 special weather statements in effect. And then obviously in the UP, where we have that severe thunderstorm warning in Marion County and Dickinson County. We're also keeping tabs, like Joel mentioned, in extreme portions of northeast Indiana as the storm moves into southern Hillsdale County. Currently no special weather statement or severe thunderstorm warning with that as of now, but once again, we're kind of keeping an eye on that cluster as it continues to ride along the Michigan-Ohio border.
A couple more potent cells starting to pop up out there as well right now. One up here in Gladwin County, just to the north of Gladwin. I believe that is over Buttman, and that is going to be heading off towards the M30 corridor. Looking at correlation coefficient, could be a small hail core in there right now, perhaps marble-sized hail falling. It's tough to tell from being so far away, but keep that in mind if you're in Gladwin County, north side of Gladwin County specifically. And we have some reds on radar here for a strong downpour here, just in the north of Carson City here. I believe that is over Crystal right now as well. Keep an eye on that. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in as we speak. So we're going to stick around here in the Upper Peninsula. I think right now the main focus is going to be this severe thunderstorm warning that just came in. It's going to probably be for this storm that's producing likely 1-inch hail here across portions of Iron and Dickinson.
New severe thunderstorm warning just came in for that cell, Joel.
That's how I saw it pop in on the bottom of the screen. I just was kind of curious to see where the orange box is going to be put. And there it is. So here's your new severe thunderstorm warning coming in right now in this new orange box on your screen. National Weather Service in Marquette has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Iron and northern Dickinson County until 2:45 Central Time at 1:50 p.m. Central Time. A severe thunderstorm was located near Crystal Falls, moving east at 25 miles per hour. Quarter-size hail is the threat with this storm. Damage to vehicles is expected. This severe thunderstorm will remain over mainly rural areas of southeastern Iron and northern Dickinson County, including the following locations: Randville, Hardwood, Segola, Ralph, Stager, and Peavy Falls Dam. For protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. 1-inch hail and no wind threat with this. It says less than 50 miles per hour. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning for only the hail threat at the current time. As you can see here on our base velocity radar, there's a little bit of perhaps a downburst ongoing directly to the southeast of Crystal Falls. Again, there's really no good locations down here. There's a couple rural roads, so Shore Road is the only road that's popping up right where that would be. Again, as the warning text mentioned, very rural areas of Iron County out here. If you know anyone camping or living out here or ATVing, this would be impacting them as this starts to roll into central and western Dickinson County. JCB with a $10 super chat. Thank you, JCB, saying any storms for Grand Rapids tonight or clear. Kind of likewise with anywhere in the state today. Between now and 11 o'clock, pop-ups are possible literally anywhere in the state. So keep your guard on you. If you have any evening plans out there this evening, especially in the Grand Rapids area. Again, the threat will remain through about 11 o'clock tonight. So you got another probably 8 hours to worry about it. And also thank you, JCB, for becoming a member for 1 month. Saying thank you for keeping our state safe. No problem. We're here for you. Right now, watching the only 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in the state right now in portions of the UP, specifically for Dickinson County, as well as extreme eastern Iron County. So in terms of the UP right now, these are really the only storms in the Upper Peninsula. There's a couple showers to the north, a couple showers over near St. Ignace, south of St. Ignace actually. The most of the storms right now, showers and storms, are just scattered throughout the entire Lower Peninsula, really minus the Lake of Michigan shoreline. So if you're Benzie, Manistee, Mason, Oceana, there's really nothing going on there right now, as well as Lake and Newaygo. All the cells kind of to the west or to the east of that right now. The thumb is getting pretty much blasted by a bunch of rain and storms at the current time, so it's kind of an opposite story to the west side of the state. We click on the Grand Rapids radar, go further down south in the state. Kind of the same story along the Lake Michigan shoreline, Berrien, Van Buren, Allegan, Ottawa, Muskegon. Not really seeing anything right now, as well as even Kalamazoo County. If you go to the east of there, cells are popping up pretty much anywhere and everywhere. And a bunch of distinct little lines, and also kind of at random. And this will kind of be the theme throughout the state through the sunset time frame tonight.
Yeah, I'd say, Joel, I think the only cell in West Michigan that quote-unquote looks the most impressive would be in Mount Calm County and, in Mount Calm County. But once again, that doesn't even have a special weather statement. But as Joel mentioned, we'll always keep an eye on these storms as they go through Michigan.
Yep. So keep an eye on it. In classic pulse thunderstorm day out there today, kind of similar to what we've seen over many summers here in Michigan. bunch of instability out there, which is your storm fuel. You get that by having a greater change in temperature with height. So it's really hot at the surface, it's really cold up in the upper levels of the atmosphere, only about 3 or 4 kilometers above our head, where it changes quickly over to freezing. Again, the greater change we can get, that's the more instability that's available for these storms to pop up. You also need a lifting mechanism out there, so such as a front, which we do have in the area, as well as a low pressure system. It's also aiding in some of this lift. Again, we need moisture as well, which we do have in the region out there today, with dew points well, I believe, into the 60s and even to 70, yeah, even into the low 70s out there. In fact, there's 74 dew point right now in Ingham County, so still humid, very, very humid out there today until that cold front moves through. So you have lift, you have instability, you have moisture. It's all fueling these storms out there today, allowing these storms to really pop up anywhere and everywhere. Kind of what we see on these pulse thunderstorm-like days. But we are missing shear. It's our 4th ingredient needed for storms to really spin and produce even stronger damaging winds. So this is pretty normal Michigan day out there. Michigan summer day, I should say, where you have these storms pop up anywhere. Special weather statements remain in effect for Tuscola County. That one's in effect until 3:30. Genesee County is going to be in effect as well till 3:30.
Will note, Joel, there is a cell that I'm noticing in Gladwin County that has a potential small hail core on it.
Yeah, that's one I have been watching. I'm going to go ahead and take a 3D scan of it behind the scenes just to look at it. Hail core is only up to about 18,000 feet right now, so it's still kind of blossoming, trying to get its act together. We really need that core to kind of raise up higher so it taps into more of that colder air, and if you do want to see more of a hail threat. But right now it's below 20,000 feet, so it's still kind of in that warmer air. Shout out to Kristen for becoming part of the team here on YouTube, joining us as an EF0 member. Thank you very much, Kristen. Appreciate your support. I'm going to go ahead and switch it up to the UP once again here, checking in on our severe thunderstorms ongoing with the large hail. That southern cell continues to be impressive here. It's actually looking like an elevated meso a little bit. Again, large hail likely ongoing still. Check our core there. Yep, there's our core. And correlation coefficient still shows those yellows, those greens, and oranges in there in the center of that storm. Heading again towards Camp 5 Road is the name of the road there. It's a north-south road that runs across portions of southeast Iron County. Latest update continues that core right there. You see it circled on the screen. You can send any pictures if it's just normal fair weather stuff. So if you have some clouds, some rainfall that's ongoing, some cool fair weather stuff, feel free to send that into us. Michigan Storm community page that is on Facebook. Alternatively, you can just toss them in the comments of one of our posts. Any one of our posts, it's obviously not the live stream. We can't see photos here on our live stream, so any of our other posts, like our warning posts that get sent out automatically, feel free to send those on there. So it still looks like that northern cell is still on its way out. The southern cell taking dominance here. It's coming pretty close now to the M69 corridor that runs north and south there from that's Channing south, of course up towards the Republic area as well. That orange box for the northern county, or for the northern cell, again, that is your severe thunderstorm warning polygon. has been trimmed from Iron County. So Iron County, you guys are good, especially if you're northeastern. If you're still here in the southeastern portion of the county, the hail core is still over you guys here, especially over Camp 5 Road, as mentioned. Crystal Falls, again, the storm has moved off to your east. The warning still remains in effect, but again, that is going to be trimmed here very, very shortly. Likely, once this storm rolls completely into Dickinson County, they'll also trim the entirety of Iron for that cell. Still watching additional showers and storms over here in northern Wisconsin. Those will be heading towards Gogebic and Ontonagon counties at some point. As of right now, no concerns there. We're going back downstate. I feel like every time we reload the scan here, another cell pops up. Continue to do so, and they will for the rest of the day. Ooh, a nice view of our Burton cam here. I'll switch it back here real quick. So this is the storm moving into Burton right now, which actually is gusting out pretty heavily here, Drew. Nice pocket of greens there still. And that special weather statement is still in effect for 50-mile-per-hour winds. I would not be surprised if that is currently what's about to roll right into the north side of Grand Blanc, south side of Flint, and south side of Burton, which we'll go ahead and switch it back to our Burton cam here and check it out. There it is on the right side of your screen. That is the cell we're looking at and talking about. Take it even more full. There we go. This is the Garden Technologies headquarters in Burton, Michigan. The strong thunderstorm rolling into your neck of the woods there in Burton and Grand Blanc. Again, this is going to be heading over towards Davison and Goodrich here eventually in the next probably 30 minutes. And these storms today are only moving like 25 to 35 miles per hour, so it's not bad. However, with the slow movement, again, the flooding is a possibility. Localized flooding, of course, would result in some ponding on roads, some clogged drains. Nothing too significant, but again, it can be an inconvenience, especially for areas that are prone to flooding, I should say. Again, this is live from Burton, as you can see on the screen. Bottom right side of your screen is where the information is for this camera. From the Garden Technologies headquarters, again, our host for all of our Skycams that we have across the state. Again, if you would like to sponsor a camera, feel free to reach out to us. You can send us a contact email. We'd love to get in touch with you on perhaps hosting a camera at your location. See the wind there in Burton, the American flag there on the bottom of the screen on the Garden sign, kind of whipping around. From prior experience there today, I remember the winds were kind of consistently gusting or consistently sustained 15 to 20 miles per hour. So gusty nevertheless out there at the surface. And again, inside of these storms, gusting to as high as 30 to 40 miles per hour. And we'll see those gusts pick up as the storm moves overhead. Center right side of your screen right now, you can see the downpour really starting to move in, where it really opens up in the center of that storm. In fact, there's a nice lightning strike there just now. We do have Ryan's cam as well live today. that up at the top right. It's down there in Lenawee County. Rain is now starting to fall here in Burton. You can see it starting to get wet on the pavement. The cell really starting to gust out even more. It's right over Grand Blanc right now. Not seeing anything in terms of rotation, but again, it's gusting out pretty forward here from Burton to Grand Blanc. That surge is right in the center of your screen right now. Right down the center of the road there, south side of Burton. Again, this is looking towards Grand Blanc. Special weather statement in effect for the entirety of Genesee County for 50-mile-per-hour winds. And half-inch hail as well. Behind the scenes right now, looking at the radar, hail core continues for Iron County in the Upper Peninsula. This is at the It's going to be at the intersection of M69 and M95 there in Dickinson County now. I will say the cell's starting to weaken a little bit, and it appears that Crystal Falls has been trimmed from that severe thunderstorm warning. So Iron County is pretty much out of the severe thunderstorm warning now. This is mainly just a Dickinson County threat in the Upper Peninsula. Where's our zoom at? That's nice. You can see the core is really starting to push out down there. Yeah, you hear here in Mount Pleasant, there's a nice shower passing over my place, so you probably hear the rain falling now. I have my window open. Another cell popping up here. But it looks like we're losing our structure now here on the Burton cam. It's coming pretty rain wrapped at the current time. So go ahead and pop it back over to the radar. Here real quick. Let me get the banner off. So again, here's your cells that are currently warned on the bottom of your screen. You can see this highest active alert ongoing, Dickinson and Marquette counties in the Upper Peninsula. Again, till 3:15 Eastern, or yeah, 3:15 Eastern, as well as 3:45.
3:45.
Go back down to our cells here. Drew, I hear myself.
Yeah, I was getting a update posted on the page here. I have a few storms, obviously, as Joel's mentioning, by the Mount Pleasant area that are continuing to move off to the east. They are slightly strengthening, but not quite strong enough yet for anything to be warned yet. So we'll be keeping an eye on those storms as they continue to move off to the east here.
Yeah, all these cells on the 127 corridor from Mount Pleasant really down towards Perrington and Palm PI, also stretching over towards Carson City. It's pretty much a due north-south. 127 does curve a little bit, so it's can kind of say the 127 corridor. But yeah, this is, again, portions of central Michigan here, Gratiot County, Isabella County. We're watching these cells now as they start to pop up. And of course, we're also watching this storm that has a sign of gusty winds right now over and near Grand Blanc, heading into Burton, eventually towards Goodrich and south of Davison. It's the lower peninsula. Traveling right down Hill Road, about to cross over Belsay Road and Perry Road. So right now, the place with the most rain in the state appears to be Ogemaw, Iosco counties, as well as pretty much the entirety of the Thumb, Tuscola, Sanilac, Huron counties. Of course, it is, of course, hit or miss, as you can see on radar here. If you know you're in some of these gaps, then it'll be very, very hard to watch as your house gets skipped. That does happen here in Michigan every once in a while. But yeah, cells continue to blossom. As mentioned here, Iosco County likely just had a nice little downburst there near Whittemore. We were also starting to watch, as mentioned here 2 minutes ago, Gratiot County up towards Isabella County here, Mount Pleasant. Those cells start to gust out as well.
Again, those 2 special weather statements that are in effect for Lower Michigan will be canceling here in about 17 minutes. I haven't seen any new special weather statements pop up yet for Lower Michigan, but once again, main focus is the Upper Peninsula, where we have those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now. So don't worry, y'all. We're keeping an eye on Lower Michigan, but we're going to be mainly focused on the UP right now.
And those cells continue to cross right down M69 here in Dickinson County. So it's again heading towards Felch and Foster City here in central Dickinson County. Kind of a 1-2 punch to the north and the south. Both of those orange boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you live inside of those orange boxes, if you know anyone else living inside those orange boxes, feel free to share, of course, but of course let them know first and foremost that severe is heading their way. Best way to show you care is to like and share, as our motto says. What kind of the one that I've kind of picked up on here recently. So feel free to do that. Even if you don't know anyone in these parts of the state. Again, a share goes a long ways, of course. And a like also helps boost the algorithm so that you may be helping other fellow Michiganders get it pushed into their feeds across the state of Michigan. It is also the peak of tourist season here in Michigan, so millions upon millions of people from all across the nation also might need some of this severe weather coverage. So again, while they're here in Michigan, it boosts the algorithm for them as well. On radar, you can see here on the screen is your base reflectivity. I'm going to have to close my window. Rain's starting to get in. A torrential downpour.
While Joel does that quickly, we now have just 1 severe thunderstorm warning now for Iron County now, I believe.
Yep, you can see that just got canceled. On radar, this is your base reflectivity radar. The blues and the greens, your lighter rain. The reds, the purples is your heavy rain. We also use a bunch of different radar products here, such as our base velocity, which is your measurement of wind. Red's heading away from the radar, green's heading towards. We need brighter colors to be a sign of heavier winds. Correlation coefficient, which is used in looking for debris and also hail, depending on the type of storm it is. Echo tops show you how high these storms are up. These storms are really starting to kind of fall down on themselves now. Tallest cloud tops now about 30,000 feet. We also look at differential reflectivity radar, which is which is your measurement of buoyancy in the atmosphere. So anywhere you see the hot reds and the pink little dots, that's your very, very positively buoyant updrafts. So storms are building up faster than they are going down. And you have the opposite, which is your greens, your blues really, and your grays, which is negative buoyancy, and those are your collapsing updrafts. Anywhere in the middle, kind of that greenish range, greenish to maybe even yellow, is your neutral buoyancy. So storms that are neither going up or going down, they're just maintaining their strength and rolling right across the Michigan landscape. So, bunch of different radar products we use here at Michigan Storm Chasers. We try to give you guys a history lesson in radar, a little bit of a nice little learning lesson here. Each and every stream, for those who might be new here, and we always have new people joining us all the time here. So if you're new here and you live in Michigan, welcome. We hope you do hit the follow button and the subscribe button, depending on what platform you're watching on. And again, we do this all the time here, so feel free to follow along and learn some things here in the wonderful world of meteorology as we continue throughout the summer. And we aren't going away as we get into the fall and the winter. Again, we'll be tracking winter storms as well. A lot of our chasers go out and get some views and sometimes play in the snow on live cams when it comes to our winter weather coverage. So again, we'll be here 24/7, 365 days a year, no matter the weather type. as mentioned, Dickinson County is the only severe thunderstorm warning left in effect here, central for that southern cell. As it heads towards Foster City, 1-inch hail is the main hazard.
For those that are wondering, if you guys have anything to report, feel free to send to our Michigan weather report page. We've had a few severe thunderstorm warnings today. We've had some gusty winds, some power outages, so wouldn't be shocked if we had a few trees that were knocked over due to these gusty winds, or some hail pictures, obviously, for the UP. So if you guys have any pictures, feel free to send to our weather report page. If you have cool pictures of clouds, whether it's shelf clouds or just storm-based clouds, we love those, but please don't send those to our report page. We want those to be mainly focused on ongoing severe weather, so we can relay that to the local National Weather Service offices. So if you want to send those, feel free to send those to our Michigan Storm Community page.
The nice thing about these rain showers is a brief cool down once you do get hit by a shower or thunderstorm. Of course, with the sun coming out shortly behind these storms, the humidity is just going to spike right back up and heat up all that water that's just sitting on the ground out there. So again, with the water out there, it's going to make those dew points rise pretty quickly. And again, really no relief. Again, rain showers is going to be your only relief today. Temperatures will drop probably 5 to 10 degrees and then pop right back up as the sun comes out for the rest of the afternoon for some of these locations.
Looks like we have a new special weather statement for Lapeer County. That would be for, pulling it up here, winds in excess of 40 miles per hour. So no hail, but a strong wind threat with these storms in Lapeer County as they move off to the east here.
Still waiting for that box to pop on, but I do see us scrolling on the bottom of the screen, so we're good there.
So I'd be downstream in St. Alec County or St. Clair County. We'll keep an eye on this line of thunder showers with some gusty winds as we move off to the east, but it's now starting to enter into portions of eastern Lapeer County, and will eventually enter into portions of southern St. Alec County and northern St. Clair County. So just a heads up for those. Might have some gusty winds potentially. Not severe currently. We'll be moving into your guys' areas shortly here.
Fun fact, the darker the clouds, the more moisture content there is out there right now. I'm looking at some clouds here in Mount Pleasant that are very, very dark outside. Again, just goes to show you that today, if those storms can collapse in themselves, you could see some very minor flooding, street flooding, drain cloggage, you name it. A lot of moisture to be used up. It's got to go somewhere. Once it goes up, must goes down. Same thing works for clouds.
And we do have some storms in northeast lower Michigan. Currently, none have any special weather statements, but we'll say, Joel, there is that cell that I would say out of all the cells that looks to be the strongest would be in portions of Wasco County. Did I say that right?
Iosco.
Partially. Yeah. But once again, that's almost in Lake Huron, so main cells will be by the Thumb in eastern Michigan, as well as the UP.
Yeah, a lot of these storms do have those brighter greens on going out there on velocity. Should be a sign of gusty winds moving out from the thunderstorm. And if it's brighter reds, obviously it's heading away, but still gusting as well. Anything on velocity radar that's in the purple here, by the way, is what's called range folded. Basically just bad data. That's one thing to remember there. Radar beams bouncing back and forth off of each other sometimes in that 50 to 100 mile range out from the radar site. Gives us some wacky data sometimes, and so instead of showing unrealistic numbers, they just put a range folded over top of it. It's like a little blanket. Says, hey, this unrealistic data that's coming in is, we might as well just not show it, so we're just going to cover it up. So that's what range fold is for. Again, obviously there's not, it would show something probably like 200 or 300 mile per hour winds. Like, yeah, it's not happening because it's doubling basically two different scans at the same time. Looking at the any hail core now, I noticed that the automatic intelligence ticker here on the screen that shows that 1 inch triangle right over near Turner. There's a nice little elevated mezzo there in very northern Aranac County. And the pinks on radar kind of show that as well. Vertically integrated liquid product shows that there is a core there. So keep an eye on that for any potential warnings for Aranac County, heading towards All Gray and Alabaster. So keep an eye out there. Going up to Marquette again, just checking our severe thunderstorm warning. Cores. Looks like our northern cell got its core back. Very interesting. Some wind as well. That's going to be crossing Pylihari. I don't even know if that's how it's pronounced.
What place?
There's a road name called Filiari or something like that. Road. It's a name of a road. It's a 2-track road out here in Dickinson County. The next closest road is County Road 581. Those are the two roads that it's near. Likely some gusty winds ongoing there. Again, this whole complex is now in that severe thunderstorm warning box. Yeah.
Looks to be by Ralph, Michigan. I have a small community pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
Just realized that my screen share was not working. So sorry about that, Joel.
Yeah, I noticed that too. You're good. There, I have your.
So there's that little
live
community right here. So as Joel's mentioning, kind of like where these purples and pinks are, when you're pulling up CC correlation coefficient, show that hail core right around here, as well as the gustiest winds. So we'll be watching this area here as it moves off to the east here. Kind of a cluster that's kind of becoming of these cells. A little bit before they were kind of a little bit more discrete in nature, and now they're just becoming a little bit of a cluster. So I'm going to be shocked if this core kind of bounces up and down a little bit. But once again, if you're in Iron County, central Iron County, going into eastern portions of Iron County now, I'd be on the lookout with these cells here. If you're in parts of western Iron County, you are pretty much clear of these cells now, basically. So.
Drew, feel free to loop your radar. It looks like there's a boundary coming off of Superior there.
Yes, there is. So if you guys are in southern Marquette County, I'd be on the lookout for the cell here as it continues to move, and it looks like it was scanned, kind of picks up on that core here. Let's check out correlation coefficient here and see newer update here. Yeah, there's a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but once again, there is a hail core right here that is continuing to move off to the east. Name some towns here. Hopefully I don't butcher any of them. So once they load here on my side. So obviously I mentioned about Ralph, Michigan. Not seeing too many that are popping up. I don't know if my radar is just not loading. No, they are. Okay. Once again, I would say north of Alfred, Northland, not really seeing too many communities too close downstream of this hail core right now. So I'd say anywhere north of Alfred or Northland, Michigan here, I'd be on the lookout for this cell for some pretty gusty winds as well as some hail, as well as this continues to move off to the east here in eastern portions of Iron County, and eventually the cell will enter into portions of southern Marquette County. As you can see, part of that warning now just got trimmed off for western Iron County, so you'd be in the clear there for western Iron County. It's more just now central and eastern portions. We also have this little cell here, not near as potent as this one, but this could easily have frequent lightning as well as very heavy rainfall as well. Zoom out here and put this on loop, unless you want to pull up your radar, Joel.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and take mine back.
Okay.
You can stay in the UP if you want.
Yep.
So there's that special alert statement that we mentioned a couple minutes ago here for Lapeer County, the entirety of it. It's in effect for winds in excess of 40. No hail there, and it's moving east at 20. I will say at this point it's going to be moving pretty close and in. So it's two different clusters here. You have cell 1 near Brown City, cell 2 heading into Lapeer. Both of these cells will be moving through the county. Again, these are going to be in effect until, that's going to be 4:15. So about another 45 minutes there. Special alert statement coming in now for Huron County. Do you have the details on that, Drew, actually?
Yeah, I probably do. I could quickly figure that out here as I work my way over here. Yes, it is a pretty small special weather statement for northeast Huron County. So it'd be with that cell that's in northeast Huron County as well. Pull up the details here. Winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, so mainly just a gusty wind threat in northeast Huron County here, as the cell is meandering its way towards Lake Huron. I wonder, Joel, if our Harbor Beach cam...
You know, it's funny as I was just pulling that up.
Okay, I'll continue talking then. While Joel gets that pulled up, once again, this cell is kind of slowly moving off to the east here. Gusty winds are the main threat here. If I pull up velocity here... Yeah, a little bit of a downburst happening, potentially. Small downburst potentially happening with this cell here as it moves off to the east here in northeast Huron County. I would be on the lookout in Port Hope of this cell here as it continues to move off to the northeast, more to the east, if anything, as the cell continues to traverse northeast Huron County. Once again, lightning is also a threat with this cell, as well as frequent rainfall as well. I'm gonna go back to UP here. Joel once again is pulling up our cam for that cell. We'll have a view on it here shortly as I work my way back to the UP. We're also watching that severe thunderstorm warning up in the UP right now for Iron County.
Nope, Dickinson. Dickinson.
Or Dickinson.
Yep.
Oh yeah. My bad, guys. Dickinson County. As it moves off to the east here, going into southern Marquette County here. Look at the winds here first. Definitely still some gusty winds here with this line. I'm more curious about the hail here. Perhaps a little bit on CC. Once again, that main core is northwest of, or northeast of Fletch, and then northwest of Alfred and Northland right now as it continues to move off to the east here. Once again, as Joel mentioned, we have that.
It's Felch, by the way.
After Felch, okay. I knew I was going to mess up one or two today at some point.
That's okay.
We have this boundary right here that is moving off to the south, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. But once again, main threat is for the wind and hail associated in Dickinson County. Go back to lower Michigan here. We do have that special weather statement for Lapeer County as well. Have these little two clusters here that we're kind of keeping an eye on. This first one will be entering into portions of Stanislaus County as well as northern St. Clair County here shortly. We pull up velocity here to see the wind. Once again, some gusty winds. Nothing really that's sticking out to me that's too concerning right now. But once again, we'll be on the lookout here with these two lines. So looks like, is that the cam right there, Joel, on the bottom left?
That is, yeah. I will pull it full here.
Okay.
I was also taking a peek at another storm that's not statemented, but the one that's still in northern Aranac and southern Iosco County near Whittemore. That cell does have a core up to about 20,000 feet right now, which could be producing at least some small hail, not severe. But don't be surprised if you are traveling along M65 up there north of Omer, up towards Whittemore. There could be some small hail, maybe up to marble size, and of course your frequent downpours ongoing there. So this is your live cam from Harbor Beach, Michigan, looking north. It's one of our Aurora cams we usually use. In fact, I'm going to put Drew's radar in the bottom corner so we can kind of show you what storms we're looking at here.
It'd be viewing north, correct,
Yes.
Joel?
Yep, due north.
Sweet. Pull velocity here. Yeah, still have that small downburst happening right there. Put it back to reflectivity here and put it on loop here so we keep an eye on the cell. Wouldn't be shocked, Joel, if we get some lightning on our cam here.
Yeah, again, these storms are very electric today. For those who missed it, I had about an hour straight of nonstop thunder this morning. The severe thunderstorm warning you do see on the bottom of your screen right now is for Dickinson County. The storm is starting to weaken. Could be still a small hail core on it, but at the current time it looks like it's on its way out. Still some gusty winds possible, but it is only warned for 1-inch hail right now. And again, that is in the Upper Peninsula. That storm is continuing off to the east at about 25 to 35 miles per hour. There are no severe thunderstorm warnings anywhere in the Lower Peninsula right now, which is a good sign. And right now we are looking at a live shot of the Harbor Beach cam here in the thumb of Michigan. Take off Drew's radar just for a quick second so we can see that bottom side of the screen there. That is what appears to be a little bit of rising scud. If not, it's... well, it kind of looks like it to me at least. I don't know if that's what you're seeing there, Drew, but definitely some loose-looking clouds there in the bottom of your screen. Would be a sign of some elevated rain that has recondensed into clouds that's fallen. So you can also see how straight up and down those clouds are again today with how little shear we have out there. These storms are not going to be tilted very crazily off to the east. These storms are just going to be popping straight up in nature, get popcorn type day, and then moving straight down. Or collapsing on themselves straight down. I will say if these storms do get tall enough, they will be tapping into some of that upper level shear, which the jet stream is rocketing off to the east. And so that's why you see up there at the very top level of the atmosphere, those clouds kind of just as a giant blanket.
Yep. Yeah, as Joel was kind of mentioning, he was referring to scud. For those that might not be familiar with that term, scud is basically just clouds that are hanging down low. Usually easily can be misinterpreted as a funnel or anything tornadic related. Rising scud is basically just clouds that are feeding into the storm. Nothing concerning. Sometimes you always see it on radar, or not radar, excuse me. See it outside, where you see a bunch of low-hanging clouds and your instant reaction's like, tornado. But the important thing with tornadoes is that you have to have rotation. You have to have a circular motion. with that, you don't get that with Scud. Scud usually is just kind of hanging there. You can have motion. It can rise into the cloud or just kind of chill there. The best way to put it. But that doesn't mean that is tornadic rotation. So that's a common problem that we have is the sometimes some Scud clouds look more scary than others, and that's just something to be mindful about. Some Scud clouds, even we had it, I think, a week or two ago, where you can have them almost touching the ground, but that doesn't mean, once again, that it's a tornado. A tornado needs to have rotation, needs to be spinning. If it's not spinning, then it's just a scary looking cloud.
As Julie puts in chat here, SLCs, scary looking clouds, the nickname for them. Scud is obviously a common one of those that gets mentioned as a scary looking cloud all the time. As you can see out there today, live here on your Harbor Beach cam, a lot of moisture content in the atmosphere. Look how dark those clouds are. All that rain's going to be rained out somewhere, whether that's over Lake Huron, over your house, or over someone else's place, or in the middle of a field somewhere. Again, rain is going to be happening today in quick bursts, as Ryan is up there in the top right of our screen. I don't know if you saw that, Drew, but he just walked in front of his camera.
Peekaboo.
Yeah, he's out there on his porch right now. Making me lose my train of thought, but it's something to do with the moisture. Again, all that rain's got to go somewhere today. 1 to 2 inch per hour rates are possible at times, and so localized flooding can occur, albeit low.
Once again, what I was kind of mentioning too earlier on too, you guys can see the clouds obviously on the cam, but you can kind of see how they're kind of semi-healthy updrafts. You can see the clouds, how they're kind of more stacked up, kind of like this. My hand shows up here, kind of like a pretty much vertical slant, basically. That means those updrafts are pretty healthy. It means storms are kind of maintaining themselves. Obviously, if you see a cloud that's more kind of sheared off, then it's a little bit weaker. If it's also more, trying to think of the right word here, wispy, that means that storm is collapsing on itself and is weakening as well. Once again, this is for those that are. Oh, go ahead, Joel.
I was going to say, we're going to start seeing the base on the bottom of the storm really come into view here as it moves on to Lake Huron. So we'll keep an eye on this in a couple seconds here as it does roll into the cam. But I'll let you speak, and then I'm going to go and do a quick radar sweep of the area. So whenever you're ready, Drew, go ahead.
Okay. Radar sweep via my radar or your radar?
I'll do it, but I know you had something to say.
Okay. Yeah. No, basically, I was just kind of mentioning, we're, for those that are wondering where we're looking at, this is our Harbor Beach cam in the thumb. We are looking at the storm that has a special weather statement on for Port Hope. Go ahead, Joel.
Okay. Let me pull my radar back. There we go. So looking at the big zoomed out picture here, we're going to go down to the DTX radar, which has the most action on it right now. Going from south to north, you have a couple showers and storms moving through Lenawee County, nothing severe or strong there. Nice little cell here over Dancer Road in Washtenaw County, heading to the east. A couple cells from Pinckney up towards Brighton. These, in terms of wind, don't really show anything, so these are just normal generic thunderstorms, as well as up here to the north near Ortonville. Anywhere where you see these reds on radar, those are your heavier rain pockets, sometimes showing pinks as well. Nice little downpour over Lapeer right now. Wind-wise, also looking pretty gusty here, as this is special weather statemented for winds up to 40 miles per hour, heading into Metamora. And this is your velocity radar, so this is your measurement of winds in the atmosphere. Gustier they are, the brighter these colors are going to be. Moving up into the thumb, Brown City has a bunch of cells, thunderstorms around the area as well, up near Applegate, Port Sanilac. And of course, we're watching a couple strong storms here in the Ubli and Harbor Beach area, as well as up towards Port Hope, which we have that live cam. We'll bring it back in here in just a second as the storm really fully gets onto the lake. And then we're also watching this storm here, which has had a history of producing, or at least showing a sign of what appears to be tumbling hailstones moving around the atmosphere here, pretty much over the M65 region near Turner. This storm has kind of just popped up and sat along the Iosco and Aranac County line. It's heading towards Alabaster as it continues its slow eastward track. You also have a couple cells down, along I-75 north of Sterling into Gladwin County near Gladwin and Beaverton, all the way down here towards Coleman and Mount Pleasant here in Isabella County, as well as one on I-127, US 127 south of Ithaca, and this is heading towards Ashley, which has seen a lot of rain over the last couple days here from all those pop-up storms. You also have a cluster of cells up here in northern Michigan, heading in Oscoda County, all sounding the same here, and Montmorency County, as well as Kalkaska County. So, a bunch of different counties here across northern Michigan, as well as eastern Michigan, with some nice cores on them in terms of downpours. Severe-wise, not yet. Again, you can see bottom of your screen right now, there's no longer any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. The one for Dickinson County has been allowed to expire. And we'll finish it off here of our radar sweep of these storms that are in the UP right now. Again, this is your previously severe thunderstorm warned storm north of Northland. And we also have a strong cell moving into Norway here in extreme southern UP. We're also watching for more development here in northern Wisconsin. That will move over into Porcupine Mountain State Park here, with a couple cells already starting to pop up over the state park as we move throughout the afternoon hours. Again, 2:43 local time over there, 3:43 Eastern for the rest of the state. We move back down into the eastern portion of the state here. Again, we're doing a big radar sweep. We cover all 83 counties in Michigan, so it's a lot of ground to cover. But again, we're watching this cell right here, which is currently special weather statemented for 40-mile-per-hour winds as it heads offshore onto Lake Huron, north of Harbor Beach. And we'll go ahead and take our cam back. And there it is, center of your screen.
There was your radar update via Joel. Yeah, I'm really kind of curious what the cell is going to do here as it enters into Saginaw Bay here. That's just south of East Tawas here. Definitely strengthening. Obviously, it's heading into Saginaw Bay. Next area we'll have to be on the lookout for eventually with this cell would be northern Huron County here. Definitely an upper level meso with this cell, but obviously with it being really far away from radar, makes it pretty difficult to interpret what's really fully happening. That's why ground truth is very important, and our camera here should eventually show the cell here if it continues to maintain its strength. So I'll draw the cell here as it moves off to the east here. It'd be this bad boy here as it moves off to the east. Could hit just in extreme portions of northern Huron County. We also have a few cells back here as well. But I would say the main focus will be this cell here for now. Obviously, there's other portions of the state that we're keeping an eye on as well. But for me personally, this is the cell that I'm kind of the most intrigued about as it moves off to the east here. So I would say eventually Port Austin might have to be on the lookout here for the cell. We do have a special marine warning actually as the cell moves across the lake here for, let's see here, wind gusts up to 40 knots. So some pretty gusty winds that are moving across the lake here with this cell here. So we'll be on the lookout here for this as it moves off to the east in northern Huron County. We also have this special weather statement already in effect for Huron County for 40-mile-per-hour winds. So any of these cells could easily also have frequent lightning as well as heavy rainfall rates as well. Look down here by Lapeer County again, where we have another special weather statement down here as these cells move off to the east into portions of St. Clair and St. Alec County. Once again, perhaps some gusty winds. I'm not really seeing anything via my radar that's really popping out in terms of anything concerning as of now. Once again, if we put this on loop here, moving off to the east here, I'd say, once again, probably more St. Clair County would be maybe in the lookout here for these showers and thunderstorms with some gusty winds potentially, but once again, nothing too eye-catching right now. Once again, Joel did a recap also throughout the whole entire state. That cell that was in the UP, a quick go to it now. The severe thunderstorm warning for that has canceled. They do have a special weather statement now in effect instead of a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that would be once again for mainly southern Marquette County here. pull up here. Would assume be a wind and hail threat. Yep, winds in excess of 30 miles an hour and half-inch hail. So this is more of a, I would say, hail threat with a cell, as what we were kind of previously watching, than a wind threat for now. So also keep an eye on that cell here as it moves off into southern Marquette County here. There's your core right there. We also have a cell here just east of Iron Mountain here. It's moving off to the east here, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Joel, I'll be back here shortly. I need to grab my charger for my phone here, so
Okay.
you mind taking over?
Yep, that's fine.
Sweet, I'll be back.
Go back live to our cam. That is out of Harbor Beach. That is it appeared to be a little bit of a ragged wall cloud, but that's more of a shelf cloud than anything right now. Again, that was going to be winds gusting out from the thunderstorm. And, yeah, just a sign of a strong thunderstorm. Not quite severe at the current time. Again, winds up to 40 there as it heads offshore of Port Hope. Yeah, we're just going to keep an eye on it here. We'd like to see cool structure again when there's no severe warnings ongoing. Kind of have the free time to kind of look around and see some of our sights and sounds from around Michigan, including some of our live webcams out there, which are sponsored by Guardian Technologies. So again, this is looking north from Harbor Beach for those who are just tuning in. Still have a special weather statement up there for northeastern Huron County. And as Drew mentioned, we also have a new special marine warning for the waters of the Saginaw Bay. Switch back to radar here real quick. This is the storm we're looking at on radar right now. This one right here in Port Hope. Cameras here in Harbor Beach. And looking at these cells right here again, with the chance at some larger hail possible, they went ahead and statemented this for, they actually statemented for the winds more than anything. Again, when that goes over the water, it's likely going to be more of that wind threat anyways, given the lack of friction out there. So 40 knots. .40 knots of wind there. And no hail. It's moving southeast at 9 knots. So everything over the water is measured in knots. So it's again, that's going to be about 15 miles per hour movement and winds of about 45 to 50. Zooming out, just to show you guys where that is in relative location of the state. Just looking around at the radar here.
I'm back.
Okay. I can hear myself again. We do have a couple of elevated mesos out there. Again, it's the one that's been over Aranet County for a while now. It's still our strongest storm I believe we have on radar. This whole line up and down the line from Lapeer up to Sanilac County. Right now, gusting forward pretty heavily, but not severe winds the current time. It's not... I mean, there's definitely some gusts going on in Metamora, but right now, not severe. Still want to be taking shelter inside away from any exterior walls with trees next to them. And these couple isolated cells, though, are going to be probably the stronger things to look out for. We also have some backside wind up near Port Hope as well. Drew, are you able to pull the Cassett radar real quick?
The what radar?
Cassett Cassett over in Ontario.
Yes, I can do that here quick.
Because that's elevation here is 8,900 feet off the ground, so we can't see anything below 1.5 miles really up at Port Hope. So we have lack of radar up there. But there's a radar over in Ontario that we can use.
Yeah, you're wondering about that cell in
Correct.
northeast Huron County, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there is definitely some weak rotation with that cell. And reds are winds heading away from the radar, greens are heading towards the radar. Definitely just weak in the newest scan here. So once again, it is pretty far away. It's pretty difficult to see kind of fully what these storms are doing in northern Huron County. But I wouldn't be shocked. You know, we've been kind of mentioning a few of these cells have upper level mesos, so we may have a view eventually as the cell moves over Lake Huron via our beach cam. Now, obviously, by the time it does that, there really isn't a threat for Michigan as the cell continues off to the east. But that may give us kind of like a clue on kind of what's all happening in terms of what's happening with the storms. That could give us a rough idea too of that next cell that's coming for potentially portions of extreme northern Huron County as well.
I was curious to see what it looked like because I have radar scope as well. I was looking at radar scope. There's actually over in London, Ontario, a tornado warning ongoing for some rotating storms over there. So the shear's a little bit greater over there in Ontario right now. You can see them on Drew's radar there. Those red boxes are for London, Ontario. Those are tornado warnings. There's a cell, I believe, that just passed to the north of London. North of London up towards Exeter. You can see on the screen there. Nice hook on it there. So if you know anyone up there in Stratford and Mitchell, Ontario, again, those are some rotating storms heading towards them. A little bit more shear on the Ontario side of the border than there is in Michigan, but I had to check because the shear vectors from the thumb are kind of similar to the ones that they are in Ontario as well. And for a brief second from the Ontario radar for the thumb, it looked like there was a little bit of rotation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, via Detroit radar, it looks like that cell that is currently over northeast Huron County is now moving fully more onto Lake Huron right now, probably more in view of our cam. I'd be shocked if maybe there's a rain shaft via our cam. But our focus now is more on this cell here as it gets into Saginaw Bay here. I'm going to switch over to the Gaylord radar here because that via DTX looks like a decent core. So
with some good wind on it too. It's definitely surging out. Definitely surging out in southeast onto the bay, right near All Gray. Sometimes when you have all of these boundaries, all of this water kind of around the area, again, those do shoot off lake breezes, and then you also have what's called surface vorticity that forms off of these, and so kind of what we're seeing in Ontario, again, they're kind of squished together by Lake Huron and Lake Erie, and oh my goodness, that echo. True.
Was that my end?
Yeah.
Maybe if I get my headset on, it'll be better.
Yes, please. Anyways. In the thumb specifically, I can't even speak over myself. I'm going to wait until Drew puts his headset on for his phone. try again now. I can't hear myself. I think we're good. But no, like I said, in this kind of crevice here, the thumb of Michigan, there's a lot of different microclimate environment stuff that's happening, and it increases the surface vorticity in this area specifically. And so every once in a while, especially with the radar beam so far away from this portion of the state, you never really know what's truly going on at the surface below the 3 kilometer mark. So it's important for you guys to at least let us know what's happening if we're missing something that's underneath the radar. But also, just keep an eye on the radar just in case, and maybe take an extra look at it, even if it is 1.5 miles off the ground for the radar beam at this location. At this point, I am now seeing rotation. Well, it was rotation. Now it has. I don't know why that was not updated. There was a brief little bit of rotation here. Edmonds Road at Whitman Road, just near All Gray. That is now moving on to Lake Huron at the current time. That's gonna be heading towards Port Austin.
Yeah, the headset I couldn't even hear you. So I tried to adjust a few things here. So does it sound better now? Or
I can hear you.
Is there still an echo?
I can hear you loud and clear. I don't hear myself. So let's hopefully keep it that way. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I had it on my laptop, so I had a feeling that might have had a play. So
it's okay.
Should be better now. We love when things mess up.
Yeah.
Technology.
Take our cam back live here again. This is Port Huron. A lot of turbulence ongoing out there. Very, very cool.
Look at that. Look at that rain shaft. That's actually it's a really strong rain shaft there.
That honestly
pretty cool structure.
And we're looking right on radar where there could be some purples and even some blacks, which would be some 60 to dBz to 70 dBz on radar. Again, it's measured sound. It's measured rain's measured in sound on the signal it gives back, and so that would be very, very, very large rain droplets. Thankfully, over the lake, could be impacting some marine, some boaters out there. But yeah, this is looking live north on Lake Michigan, or sorry, Lake Huron. Wow, Lake Huron, north of Harbor Beach. It's one of the lakes. Got a little bit of scud there in the center, right center side of your screen as well. Underneath the storm, quickly rising into it. As what we call a scary looking cloud, one of them. Doesn't really signify anything other than some rain that's being re-evaporated, condensed. You'll still also have that special weather statement, by the way. For those who are watching in the Upper Peninsula, there's only one special weather statement up there right now for southern Marquette County. That includes Northland right now. It's heading towards Rock and Trinary and Perkins, eventually. In the Lower Peninsula, the special weather statement for Huron County, which is the storm we're kind of looking at, has expired because the storm has moved offshore. And there's one special weather statement in effect for some gusty winds rolling through now southeastern Lapeer County at the current time. Nothing really else happening out there. I'm taking a look at a storm now. Take my radar back here for y'all, just to give you guys an idea what I'm looking at here. Looking at Gladwin County. Could be gusty up there as well. It's, again, in the middle of 3 different radars right now. It's super far away. Gladwin County is kind of in the no man's land out there. But there could be some gusty winds. Again, this is about 8,500 feet above the ground. So anything below 8,500 feet we can't see on radar. So let us know what you're seeing if you're here near Rhodes and Beaverton, kind of in between, along the M30 corridor here, south of M61. Looks like it's starting to pick up its strength a little bit. Still appears to be some gusty winds on this storm moving on to the Saginaw Bay. So we'll be heading eventually over towards Caseville and Port Austin at some point within like the next hour. So probably around by 5 o'clock. And these storms are moving very, very slowly today, about 25 to 35 miles per hour. So slow-moving storms leading to some downpours out there.
We do have that special weather statement in Lapeer County. Not really seeing any signs of another statement being issued here for St. Alec or St. Clair County, which isn't too surprising. So, but we also have that special weather statement in the UP. But main focus is in northern Huron County, where we do have the upper level meso and semi-decent hail core as well. But once again, as Joel mentioned, with it being in between 3 radars, it makes it pretty difficult to kind of see what exactly the storm is doing. But I would not be shocked if it has some pretty impressive structure, just like this cell does or did in northeast Huron County.
I see someone in here is asking about, do they have radar scope? Hail looks like rotation, how to differentiate. So there's a bunch of different radar products we use to kind of figure out what's actually falling in the atmosphere. So I'm going to go ahead and take my radar back here, take it off my Skycam from Harbor Beach there. So we're going to go ahead and go radar by radar. So starting off with your base reflectivity, this is just your intensity of rain. The red and the pink is heavy rain, the greens and the blues light. Pretty straightforward there. We look for the pinks. Pinks are the largest of the droplets. So anywhere where it changes over to pinks, that's basically like a 50-50 chance at you seeing some hail falling there as well. So keep that in mind. We use the velocity radar, which is basically like your Christmas colored radar. You have reds and greens everywhere for your wind differentiate. Jeez, I can't speak. Basically, it's your gate-to-gate shear. Winds moving away and towards radar. Or away from and towards the radar. So anywhere where you see, let's see if I can get a good example here. So anything in red. So for example, this radar site is in the village Clarkston down here in Oakland County. Anything in red is winds moving away. And anything in greens is winds heading towards the radar, generally speaking. Even if it's moving kind of semi-parallel to it, still counts as it moving towards or away from it. So if it's completely gray, it's usually likely either or, essentially. It's moving kind of at the same sort of like parallelness. So that is your velocity radar. We look for where the reds and greens would come close together for some sort of rotation, kind of similar to like this right here. It's not exactly rotation by any means, but again, we're looking for reds and greens close together. We're also looking for bright reds and bright greens. You can't just have reds and greens close together and say, oh, hey, that's rotation. You have to have them be very, very bright as well. So again, we're not really seeing too many of the brighter pixels, so that's a good sign there. And then we switch it over to our correlation coefficient radar, also known as CC. And actually, Drew, it looks like there's a hail core on this cell now. As it moves, offshore onto Saginaw Bay completely. And again, that CC radar, which looks like this, is what we use for uniform versus non-uniform objects. So anything you see in your pinkish and your reds up here, which is basically this entire stretch, that's all uniform. So raindrops and snowdrops are all circular in nature. And then you get to the meteorological non-uniform objects tumbling around. So that goes into that orange, yellow, and greenish category here. That would be hail. Again, hail is kind of jagged in nature. It's very spiky. If you've seen hail fall before. Sometimes, obviously, you get round hailstones, but they're not perfectly round. So again, any sort of deformation in those hailstones is going to get picked up by correlation coefficient radar as non-uniform objects. We also use this radar for non-uniform, non-meteorological objects such as debris, which thankfully we won't be seeing today, hopefully. And that is, again, going to be signed by not only these yellows and greens, but also some darker blues. Again, it's very, very like large debris. It's very non-uniform. The more non-uniformity it is, the darker the blues are going to get. So the more square, I guess, your objects could be. So that's how you can differentiate between the different radar products. You have correlation coefficient and velocity that are used for non-uniform versus uniform, and then obviously your wind direction. Storm tops in these storms also out there right now, kind of pushing that 35,000 feet cloud top limit. Not too bad out there. I believe we also have, at least we have Ryan's cam up, which I'll take it full for just a second here. Let's have just some rain moving into his neck of the woods there, Illinois County. Nothing too crazy ongoing, but it's going to get dark there for a little bit and knock down that temperature a little bit, which will feel very, very nice. So it looks like we got a little bit of a break for right now. Fingers crossed, of course. That could obviously change very soon. Storm still rolling across the Menominee and Marquette County areas with some small hail possible here, as seen on correlation coefficient. It looks like there's a little bit of a core here. Just down the road from Hermansville and Powers, it's heading off in your general direction. You can see some of those yellows and greens mixing in there. Keep an eye on that over the minutes to come. You have that boundary. That's kind of this greenish blue line shooting down from Lake Superior. That is inducing lift. You can actually see how that boundary is inducing lift in the vicinity of a cell that popped up here, cell that popped up here, and a cell that's popping up here over rock. Kind of along those boundaries there in Delta County now. We'll keep an eye on those. Cells still moving into the western UP, into this Bessemer and Ironwood. Yes, Ironwood's over here, over in Gogebic County. Eventually Ontonagon County as well. So keep an eye on those. A lot of different pop-up cells out there today looking into northern Michigan. Not a whole lot going on here. There's one cell in Kankakee County right now with perhaps a little bit of pea-sized hail, but otherwise just a torrential downpour. Same thing over there in Rose City. And some boundaries also popping up out here as well. So keep an eye on those. Strong cells in Gladwin County. And a couple pop-ups now in Gratiot. Still popping up in Isabella as well. And we're going to move down into southwest Michigan. Kind of going county by county here. Not a whole lot going on in West Michigan right now. I'd love to see it. And next strongest storm is down here in LaPorte County, Indiana. That's going to be staying pretty much away from our Michigan border for now. We'll have to see it wobbles back north. And then over here in the east side of the state, you have that line that's kind of meandered its way across the state all morning and now afternoon. Going through Oakland County right now. Torrential downpours ongoing for Lapeer as well as over into St. Clair and Sanilac County. So that is your kind of radar recap here. We also have a nice downpour ongoing now at the state that our camera here in Harbor Beach is getting downpoured on directly. Directly inside of the storm. So seeing as there is no severe right now, I think we're going to probably take a break for a little bit. Again, no severe weather ongoing, so there's no need to be live at the current time. Again, we cover you guys from beginning to end for all severe weather. And there's no severe weather ongoing, so we might take a break. Grab some food maybe, perhaps. Don't know how long of a break it's going to be, Drew, but I just do still have to get these advertisers, or our sponsors read off here. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick before we wrap up. Again, on every stream we do shout out our sponsors, at least once, sometimes twice. And they're always scrolling at the top of the screen 24/7 throughout all of the streams, so feel free to give them your business up there as they scroll across the screen. And you'll now see them pop up on the sidebar as well as we shout them out here personally from us here in Michigan Storm Chasers. Again, what we do here at Michigan Storm Chasers is not cheap nor free by any means, so any help is much welcome. And we do that by having our sponsors. So, showing our sponsors here, going in order. Our longest standing sponsor, Storm Guard, based out of North Metro Detroit. So Lifestyle Exteriors, based out of Central Michigan, Lansing to Traverse City. Also out of the Lansing area down towards more Potterville and Battle Creek, you have Katz Roofing and Siding. Pro Powder for all your powder coating needs, South Haven, Michigan. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, based out of Sand Lake, St. Clair counties. McKay Tree Specialists for all of your tree service needs across Southeast Michigan. And in West Michigan, all your tree service needs can be found with Kuiper Tree Care. In Kalamazoo County, you also have Gull Lake Tree Pro. FBI Buildings for all your barn dominium and outdoor building needs across the Lower Peninsula. On Top Roofing for all of your roofing replacement needs in Livingston County. Schneider Commercial Building Solutions for all of your commercial roofing needs. And Shield Public Adjusters, both those businesses based out of Lansing, Michigan. Shield Public Adjusters for all of your insurance adjustment needs. Floor Coverings International of Michiana for all your flooring needs there. Also have Top Gun Roofing and Exteriors based out of West Michigan. A-Class Construction and Restoration based out of Mason County in Northwest Michigan. Rainbow Restoration based out of Kent County for all of your restoration needs around the area. Our newest sponsor, Rapid Radios, our trusted partner for all of our chasing communications going forward. And lastly, but not leastly, Guardian Technologies, the sponsor of all of our Skynet cams here, including the one you see on your screen from Harbor Beach and the Thumb of Michigan. They're the ones that helped put all these up, get these network out for everyone to see. So feel free to contact them for all of your security camera needs as well. So those are all of our sponsors here at Michigan Storm Chasers. We have a couple more eventually coming as well. Again, you can also become a sponsor by reaching out to us via email. You can contact Chandler specifically, chandler@michiganstormchasers.com. That is his email. Feel free to send us an email there. With that being said, I think we are good for now. Take a little bit of a break here. Again, still some strong storms ongoing across the state. Nothing severe. And if you do have plans this evening, make sure you do have a radar app on you. It is important to kind of keep a radar app on you. Specifically, any radar only apps that do have nice raw data would include Radar Scope or Radar Omega. Drew here, he uses Radar Omega specifically for the PC version. He also uses it for his phone as well. I'm a big Radar Scope user and a big component advocate for Radar Scope, which is $9.99 in the App Store. It's a one-time payment. It's a good app to have, especially if you're going out and about, being away from us for the day, I guess you could say. Again, good app to use. A bunch of good apps out there. And again, they'll probably be linked here in the comments maybe. Again, Radar Scope, Radar Omega, good phone radar apps to use. They're radar only, of course. And again, what you'll see on there is all the radars that we use here at Michigan Storm Chasers, such as base reflectivity, velocity, correlation coefficient, differential reflectivity, all of that fun stuff. And obviously, you can kind of figure that out as you download it as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. Drew, anything else to add as we head off for now? Obviously, we might be back later.
Not really. Shout out to our mod team for modding today. Appreciate their help as always. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on things on the radar here, and if anything concerning pops up, we will always have it covered.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, mods. Again, they are very, very much appreciated here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Can't do it without them. Keeping you guys in check, because if you get out of line, they will put the band hammer down. So don't do that. Don't find out the hard way. We also have the auto mod on there as well. Make sure, obviously, when you do watch these streams, don't be speaking in all caps, because it will pick up on that. So thank you again, mods. Thank you guys all so much for watching this afternoon. We'll be back probably soon with more severe weather coverage, knowing our luck here. And yeah, take care, everyone, this afternoon. Contact you guys later. We'll contact you guys later in the need the severe weather happens. So take care. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Thank you, Heather, for becoming a member for 11 months.